Let us now consider the speaking subtest of the Ielts. This is in the form of an interview. The speaking test consists of 3 parts. Part 1 takes 4 to 5 minutes. Part 2 takes 3 to 4 minutes. And Part 3 takes 4 to 5 minutes. We will now look in on a speaking test interview.
Good morning. May I have a look at your passport?
Yep.
And your name is?
My first name is Asano, which means wide field or something like that. The reason my parents called me that is because my father just liked the sound of it. My family name is Tamaki. It's not a very common name in Japan, but I think it's easy to pronounce for English people.
All right, Asano. In this first part, I'm going to ask you some questions about yourself. Where do you come from?
I'm from Japan, Yokohama, which is a very, very big city, close to Tokyo. I think the population is more than 3 million. But actually, I was born in China, Beijing, which is a huge city too. And my family moved to Yokohama when I was 3 years old. And I recently applied for the citizenship in Australia because I don't like the huge population and pollution in Yokohama.
So tell me, what do you like about Yokohama?
Well, it's exciting. For example, there are many shops, restaurants and markets and people everywhere.
All right, Asano, now tell me, what are you doing at present?
Well, I'm looking for work. Fortunately, there are lots of vacancies for my profession. I'm really looking forward to working so that I can be independent financially. My parents have spent a lot of money on me.
And what kind of work do you do?
Well, in Japan, I was working for the government as a nurse, but it was a very hard job. And I did that for 3 years. Then I went to New Zealand to study English, and I moved to Australia about a year ago to study for my PhD. And as I told you before, I'm looking for employment right now.
Okay, Asano, now we'll move on to part 2 of the speaking test. Have a look at this, read it carefully. You have about 1 minute to think about your answer, then approximately 1 to 2 minutes to talk to me about what's on the slip. You can use a pen and paper to make some notes.
At this point, you'll need to brainstorm for ideas. This is an example of how you could make your notes.
All right, are you ready?
Yes. Well, I like classical music and also folk music. Classical music is very relaxing, and folk music is interesting because it tells us people's culture or history. But I don't really listen to music much because I'm very busy. I have to work because I've got a part-time job, and I have to shop and cook. And I like to read in my spare time. I usually listen to music in my car because I've got a really good sound system in my car. When my mother was young, Japanese people were just beginning to listen to Western music in Japan. But now, Western style music is actually very popular in Japan. And in fact, a lot of the music that young people in Japan listen to today is in English.
All right, Asano, we'll move on to part 3 of the test now. What influence do you think music has on life?
Well, the effects of music can be good. It helps us to relax and also to enjoy ourselves when we get together. But on the other hand, it can incite feelings of nationalism, and some modern music encourages drug use or violence.
What part does music play in your culture?
Well, in the past, Japanese music was quite nationalistic. It was used to encourage a love for Japan or something like that. But today, people listen to all types of music as they do like countries like in America or the UK. And in future, I hope music in Japan will improve because I don't think it's very good right now.
Okay, how would you define music?
Could you please repeat that question again?
How would you define music?
Well, It's something sounds beautiful and helps us to relax. And it's a part of all cultures. All ages listen to it. And it can be used for both good and bad.
Thank you, Asano. Your speaking test is over now. You can enjoy the rest of your weekend.
Thank you. I hope you have a good weekend too.
Thank you.
You've now come to the end of the video. We hope that you'll practice the essential information presented here, and we wish you every success in obtaining the band score that